After the disastrous invasion of Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin has very few allies left. This act has isolated him and his country. And even the few friends Putin can still count on, like North Korean leader Kim Jong Un, are proving to be unreliable partners. Recent reports reveal Kim may have supplied the Kremlin's war machine with old, obsolete, and decaying ammunition, which is backfiring on Russian troops. Before the war, Russia may not have been the most beloved nation, but it held strong influence, and Putin had solid relationships. But then, he made the historic mistake of invading Ukraine, turning much of the international community against him. Dozens of countries condemned the invasion and illegal occupation of Ukrainian territories, with many pointing to the Kremlin's war crimes. The Western world, in particular, has punished Russia with wave after wave of economic sanctions, and countless nations have severed ties. However, a few countries have stood by Russia throughout the war. The number is not large. The world saw how small Putin's circle of friends have become in February 2023. With a UN resolution calling for Russia's withdrawal, nearly all nations voted in favor, with only Russia, Belarus, Syria, North Korea, Mali, Nicaragua, and Eritrea voting against it. Others, like China and India, continue to invest in Russian resources, becoming its two largest oil customers recently. But very few nations have been willing to provide actual military support to the Kremlin's forces on the ground. North Korea is a notable exception. Months after the war began, North Korea also recognized the so-called Luhansk and Donetsk People's Republics as independent states. Then, North Korea began escalating its support from mere words to delivering weapons and deploying troops. They have sent everything from self-propelled artillery and multiple launch rocket systems to thousands of North Korean soldiers. In short, North Korea has been one of Russia's most active allies, and one of its most important contributions has been ammunition. No nation can wage war successfully without ammunition, even with the best equipment. Every army needs this essential supply. Indeed, according to estimates from South Korean experts, North Korea sent over 13.00 containers of ammunition to Russia between mid-2022 and mid-2024. However, more recent figures tell a slightly different story. According to Vadim Skibitsky, deputy head of Ukraine's defense intelligence, the supply is dropping. There are a couple of possible explanations for this, but two reasons stand out. First, North Korea is simply running out of ammunition to send. The second reason is that Pyongyang may simply have more pressing issues to focus on, like its own military development. Whatever the reason, the end result is the same. Russia is receiving less and less ammunition from North Korea. And that's a big problem. This could open up new opportunities for Ukraine to launch counter-offensives or to regroup, resupply, and reinforce its defensive lines. And the problem isn't just the quantity of North Korean ammunition, but also its quality. Nearly half the shells are old and unreliable. Not long ago, the North Korean military unveiled its latest and supposedly greatest intercontinental ballistic missile, the Hwasong-20. The country has also conducted numerous missile tests recently, while actively pursuing many military research and development projects. Skibitsky revealed that North Korea has recently sought to expand its drone production capabilities and has begun mass-producing two different types. Therefore, it's possible that producing and sending more artillery shells to Russia has gradually slipped down Pyongyang's list of priorities. This means fewer ammunition supplies are being delivered to key positions along the front lines, forcing Kremlin commanders to rewrite their tactical plans. Furthermore, many of the shells that are deemed good enough to go straight to the front end up being useless duds anyway. This whole saga is a shameful indictment of Russia's military standing in the world today. They were supposed to be a top military superpower. Now, the myth of the Russian army is crumbling before our eyes, resorting to buying old, faulty ammunition from one of its few remaining allies. And, like so many other elements of Putin's war, the situation with North Korean ammunition is completely unsustainable. Unfortunately for Russia, they don't have many other options. They have a few other allies, like Belarus and Iran, willing to help. So, Russia will have to put up with North Korea's F-grade ammunition or somehow try to win a war with a fraction of the ammo it needs. Meanwhile, in Pyongyang, Kim Jong Un is probably quite pleased with how the war has turned out for him. Former South Korean ambassador to Russia, Wai Sung-lak, suggests Kim's decision to cooperate with Putin has proven to be not a bad deal at all. Mr. Y explained that North Korea officially claims to produce about 4 million tons of grain per year. But this is a significant shortfall. By selling a few containers of artillery shells, Pyongyang can afford much more than hundreds of thousands of tons of rice. Mr. Y also feels that Kim Jong Un, having done so much to support Russia, will be able to count on Putin to return the favor. If there is a war on the Korean peninsula, North Korea can now expect Russia to come and help. That remains to be seen, but there's no doubt the Russia-North Korea alliance will continue for the foreseeable future. Pyongyang has been closely studying Russia's use of drones to attack its opponents and is applying that knowledge to its own drone facilities. If half of North Korea's artillery shells are faulty, it's easy to imagine that its drones could also prove unreliable for Russia. Meanwhile, Russia is also preparing to welcome around 12,000 North Korean workers before the end of 2025. These laborers will take up positions at enterprises around the Alabuga Special Economic Zone in Tatarstan. It is in Alabuga that long-range drones of the Shard, Geran type are manufactured, which the Russian army uses for attacks. To discuss the details, the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs held a meeting with representatives of a North Korean technology trade company. Muscovites promised to pay imported laborers approximately $2.50 per hour of work, and shifts for workers will last at least 12 hours. Such measures indicate deepening strategic cooperation between the two dictatorships to continue the aggressive war against Ukraine. It is certainly worrying to see the growing relationship between two of the world's most volatile powers. Meanwhile, Ukraine can continue to count on a much larger and more powerful set of allies throughout the Western world.